Hi, everybody. Beers and Gathiel of 2001 really highlighted the benefits of the informed consent to be that it makes the client an active agent in their own therapeutic process. It starts the counseling process off by highlighting the parameters of the relationship, and it really gives the relationship a checks and balance for the client and the therapist to work off of. And although we don't like to push legalities onto a new relationship, especially one that's supposed to be therapeutic, at the end of the day, it really does safeguard the client as well as the therapist. So this week, I found something pretty interesting. First, I reviewed the ACA Code of Ethics in regard to what needs to be in informed consent. Then I reviewed an informed consent by the Counselor Connection in West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia, and they really hit all of the marks right off the bat. They hit the purpose, the goals, the techniques, and the procedures utilized in therapy, the limitations and the potential risks included, the qualifications and the credentials of the therapist, and the continuation of services. They just hit all of the bulletin points. But then I reviewed the regulations from my state board of Minnesota, and Minnesota board really didn't say much about informed consent. They did note that it needed to be present, and that confidentiality and the breaches of confidentiality needed to be discussed, but it didn't really talk about the standard of an informed consent. So that made me curious. So I reviewed another informed consent sample by my own state, called Healing Moments from Monticello, Minnesota. And they talked a lot about confidentiality, especially in terms of utilizing email and utilizing technology, but I found some pretty huge discrepancies to the ACA. So they didn't talk about techniques and procedures utilized in therapy. They also did not talk about continuations of services due to death or incarceration. But the biggest thing that I found is that they did not talk about in their informed consent under what circumstances therapy would be ceased. So when comparing the ACA standards and Minnesota standards, I found that specifically the company that I looked at, that they were really hitting the bare minimum of ethical standard in terms of their informed consent, which makes me wonder, is there not a governing body that oversees these things, or that makes sure that the company is up to par in such things? Looking forward to hearing from you guys.